So the main priority for the Washington Commanders this offseason is surrounding Jaden Daniels with as much talent as possible, if you ask me. Clearly, we don't have enough right now. Don't let the success of this season fool you into thinking everything around Jaden Daniels is fine and we were just one step away from making it to the Super Bowl. Granted, yes, we was, but a lot of that was due to JD5 putting us on his back. We need more talent. And whether you decide to address that through free agency, trades, or the draft, there is some quality players out there. Take Luther Burton for an example, star wide receiver at Missouri who's kind of pleading for Washington to come and get him. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about this star wide receiver basically pleading for Washington to come get him in this upcoming draft. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. So I have a couple of articles that I want to go over with you guys. One specifically talking about where they have Luther Burton being drafted, and another Washington Commanders kind of article where we're talking about Jaden Daniels and Luther Burton having a connection already, with Luther Burton commenting, "Let's do it," under Jaden Daniels' post this past season. And with Luther Burton, he's 5'11", 6 foot max, and I know that may turn off a lot of Washington Commanders fans because we want a big body receiver. We want the T. Higgins, the DK Metcalfs, the Chris Godwins, and I'm right there with you. Those are the kind of receivers that I want. But you also got to understand, Washington does not necessarily have to bring back De'Ami Brown. Does not have to bring back Olamide Zaccheaus, who those two specifically are free agents this offseason. And although De'Ami did have a really, really good postseason, you don't, again, have to bring him back or extend him a contract offer for a return. Instead, you can go into the draft and get a guy like Luther Burton, who's 5'11", but he's a burner, and we know we don't have that. We need to make this offense speedy. That's why we want to get another running back, because Brian Robinson slows down the offense. Receiving core, Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, and OZ, they're fast, but we can be much faster and quicker, and we can take a lot more deep shots with a guy like Luther Burton. So let's go ahead first read this article by Rigo's Rags that talks about Luther Burton and the Washington Commanders. Then we'll get to the other one. First things first, it says Jaden Daniels is drawing a rave review and deserving applause after his sensational rookie campaign. There were other factors behind the Washington Commanders' resurrection, but his remarkable rise to superstardom can provide the spark that ignites the franchise back into perennial contenders. And again, like I said before, like without Jaden Daniels this year, this team would not have made it to the NFC Championship. That's clear as day. And although we made it to the NFC Championship and one game away from the big game, we still need a lot to go around JD5. That's how special Daniels is. He's a ruthless closer with an aura players and coaches naturally gravitate towards. Number 2 overall pick selection in 2024 NFL Draft is also among the big reason why Washington is going to be an attractive destination for free agents and draft prospects throughout the spring. Duh. Again, people want to come play for the Washington Commanders because they've seen what Jaden Daniels did. They see the vision that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters are putting together. They see the salary cap. You don't think agents are talking to their guys like, hey, go to Washington. Not only do they have a good quarterback, not only do they have a good culture and coaching staff, look at the cap space. You could probably get the most money out of Washington than you probably would go if you went somewhere else. So that's another factor as well. And it says that's how special Daniels is, of course. One player is already making luring glances into the team's direction. Someone who would be a significant asset to the passing game as Daniels looks to take his game to greater heights in the coming years. That is Luther Burton. Luther Burton III pushing hard for Commanders consideration in the 2025 NFL Draft. Luther Burton's social media activity suggests he relishes the prospect of joining the Commanders. 2 separate comments on posts around Daniels provides a not so subtle hint that they're more acting to come and get me plea. So he commented this on Jaden Daniels' page where he says, let's do it. After Jaden Daniels posted one of his pictures, and then they have the picture of Luther Burton, Terry McLaurin, and obviously Jaden Daniels. And that would be insane if you ask me. Now, Luther Burton, obviously, he's not like the best receiver coming out of this class. You probably would have to go to the wide receiver in Arizona. He's tough. Like McMillan, to Tory McMillan, he's OC. You know what I'm saying? But Luther Burton's definitely not too far behind. And Luther Burton also commented on another JD5 picture where he put like JD5 and then the lock, this emoji right there. So clearly he has some interest in Washington, and he has a connection with Jaden Daniels. And it says also Burden is one of the best wide receivers coming out of this collegiate ranks this year. He's gone through a down year of sorts at Missouri, but the talent is undeniable. The Commanders will be in the market for receiver help throughout this offseason. Terry McLaurin is in contention for All-Pro honors after benefiting great from Daniels' presence. Under center, Alameda Zacchaeus, Noah Brown, and other guys like Jameson Crowder has shown flashes. But despite that, they do not have enough. And that's the truth, honestly. Like, we don't have enough. I know we want to see what Luke McCaffrey can turn into. We want to see if De'Ami Brown definitely could come back and build off of that playoff run that he had. And I like OZ back too as well. I wouldn't mind OZ back as well, but I know a lot of people are very, wishy-washy when it comes to OZ's presence. So I don't really know if that's what you're interested in. But me, I wouldn't mind having him back. But even still, with those guys, that's not like something that is threatening to defenses opposing outside of Terry McLaurin. So I think you get a guy like Luther Burton, and that can open up this offense so much. Just with his top end speed. General manager Adam Peters has the maximized Daniels rookie contract, going after a big name with proven production and free agency cannot be completely dismissed. Considering the salary cap space available, the Commanders want to build throughout the draft, so acquiring a blue chip prospect early in the process might be higher on their list of priorities. That's interesting. Burden boasts better candidates than most. Unfortunately for the gifted wide receiver, when where he ends up is out of his hands. Teams dictate that they hold the cards unless they have the NFL pull a Manning, forcing the issue out of hand question. Burden just has to hope he falls enough to enter in Washington's grasp. But I don't know about that all 100%. I get what they're trying to say. Like, the only way he could say where he wants to go is if he pulls, Eli Manning or whatever. But remember, may God rest his soul, Terry McLaurin is here because of Dwayne Haskins. Y'all know that, right? Like, we drafted Terry McLaurin because, well, one, Jay Gruden loved Terry. That's for one. What's good, y'all? Real quick, I want to ask you guys, do me a favor and subscribe to my fitness channel. As you guys know, I am documenting my fitness journey from fat to muscular. So I really would love if you guys could check that out and support it. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the video. But Dwayne Haskins got picked, and he said he wanted one of his guys to come with him. And he pleaded for one of his guys to come with him to wherever he went. And he went to obviously Jay and all those guys at the time and told him, hey, I want Terry. Or it was another OSU guy coming out as well that he also wanted too, alongside Terry if he couldn't get Terry. Was it Paris Campbell? It might have been Paris Campbell at the time as well. But I'm not saying he can directly tell AP and all those guys, I want Luther Burton and go get Luther Burton. But you got to take in consideration that they may draft some of these guys if they have players in the building that's like, hey, go get him. Remember, a long time ago, Clinton Portis, or excuse me, I'm sorry about that, not Clinton Portis. Who was it? I can't think off the top of my head. But they were like, go get Sean Taylor. He kept saying, go get Sean Taylor, go get Sean Taylor. Dang, I can't remember his name. Y'all gonna help me out in the comment section though. But basically, the reason why Sean Taylor was here was because they just kept telling him, kept reminding him, go get Sean, go get Sean. You're not gonna regret it. And we ended up getting Sean Taylor. So there's countless times where players have pushed for somebody in the draft, and the team, it influenced the team enough to decide to go get him. So if they want Luther Burton that bad enough, if he feels like Luther Burton is that good and could come to Washington and help immediately like that, you never know what can happen, man. But shout out to Luther Burton. Let's go ahead and go to the other article in which they have where they project him to be. So It says this is according to Missouri Tiger SI.com. It says the NFL regular season officially comes to an end. Ever since wide receiver Luther Burden committed to Missouri in high school, he was expected to lead the program to new heights before becoming a star in the NFL. The junior lived up in both aspects and officially declared for the NFL draft 2 days after Missouri regular season ended. Entering the 2024 season, Burden seemed to be a Smurfing top 10 selection. The stat sheet shows a drop off in production for Burden from 23 to 2024, though going from 86 to 61 receptions, 1,212 yards to 667 and 9 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns this year. It was a significant drop off, but I'm sure, again, I'm not that big into Missouri football, but I'm sure there were other factors around the reason why he dropped off. Whether it was offensively, they couldn't really get good things going on a consistent basis. They didn't really have a good quarterback, or maybe he dealt with some injuries, or maybe he just had a down year. That happens. It says, but there were circumstances outside of Burden's control. The NFL scouts should be able to see before dropping the slot receiver's draft stock. So he would immediately be a slot receiver. In the latest top 100 prospect rankings from Sports Illustrated, Daniels Flicks Burton was rated at number 16th overall prospect and the third best receiver behind Arizona's Victoria McMillan and Colorado's Travis Hunter. Draft analysts have a wide range for Burton, all in the first round. Here is the playmakers have their best projected selections from, and obviously they have the Seattle Seahawks, the Washington Commanders at number 26 when we were at 26 at the time, the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Jets, and Cincinnati Bengals. Burton was a constant draw from NFL scouts to the Ford Field press box. So in 2024, some of our scouts went down to Missouri to watch him play. And those scouts and general managers spoke to Missouri's head coach to talk about Luther Burden. He says, I tell to any NFL scout and general manager, like the league got a lot of players who always demand. And you're going to be able to put Luther with a vet or a rookie, and he's never going to inherit. He's going to inherit their growth. So it seems like Luther Burden seems like the kind of guy that you want in your locker room. He's not going to be, a diva in a sense, or come in and demand. He's just going to come in and fit right where he belongs. As a rookie, he's going to learn from the vets like Terry. If we bring back Deami, Ozzy, all those guys, he's going to learn from those guys and fit right in. And you love that. And you got to think, right? We just drafted a receiver not too long ago in Jahan Dawson, who was 5'11", and he had a really good year, but then he had some issues that we later found out that he felt like he arrived. He didn't have to try as hard, you know what I'm saying? And he really didn't fit this scheme of Cliff Kingsbury's offense. So that could be a turnoff, with this offense. Is we want downfield blockers. We want guys that isn't afraid of contact and isn't afraid to do the dirty work. And Luther Burton doesn't necessarily have the measurements that pleases you when it comes to blocking and getting out in screens and stuff like that. But you can't deny the speed, the athletic ability, the route running, the hands. He has it all, man, when it comes to that aspect of it. So he's a guy that you will have to look out for, man. I will honestly look out for Luther Burton. He's pleading to come to Washington. He loves what we built here. Jaden Daniels has that connection with him as well, or they at least know each other. And again, like I said, you can bang the table for a guy if you genuinely want him. Not necessarily saying Luther Burton is going to be here, because we could not be able to draft him because we're at 29 and he's projected to be, around that range. But you never know what can happen, how the board falls. And then you never know if a month prior we go out in free agency, we get a Chris Godwin, we get somebody like a Stephon Diggs or Keenan Allen, one of these veteran guys, or we trade for DK Metcalf or, sign T. Higgins or whatever. It all depends. But as of right now, I wouldn't mind having Luther Burton adding them to this rotation. And even if you do get a big, guy like T or DK or Chris Godwin, you could still draft Luther as well. It just depends. I have a weird feeling that he may drop to the second round. I don't know why. And if he drops to like the second round, you got to find a way to maybe trade back into the second round with your 29th pick and select him, or whatever. Because I genuinely think we're going to trade back. I don't know if we're going to pick anybody at 29. If there's going to be anybody worth picking at 29. But again, we got all spring to talk about that. But let me know what you guys want to put in the comment section down below. Would you go out and get a guy like Luther Burton, or are you good off of him? Let me know. Leave it down below in the comment section. As always, me, Juan Gotti. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. On the road to 9,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Catch y'all later. Peace.